Shooting another big scene, the gazebo scene, where people are waiting. It's the opening shot of the Santa's Priority commercial, where people are waiting for Santa to arrive with their families. As you can see, we've got the fake snow in the background. We've got the set all dressed for Santa to arrive, and Victorian homes in the background, and we'll take you around and show you some of the details on the set. We're also going to film the scene where the little boy hands Santa the cookie, and they have that little interaction on a Victorian porch that's just to this side of me. But stay tuned, and we're trying to beat the ice storm and the snow that's coming in, real snow, not just the fake stuff that's coming in tonight. So stay tuned, and we'll take you around the set today for day 2 of Santa's Priority. We're at Whitfield Square in Savannah filming the gazebo scene. If you look behind me, you'll see a 24-foot techno jib. It's pretty big in most people's eyes, but really when you think about it, it's shorter than we've used on most of our sets. If you look at our epic ad we shot in Rome in front of St. Peter's Basilica, we had a 40-foot jib swinging in front of St. Peter's statue. If you look at our evangelismal called Heavy Burdens that we shot here a few months ago for the confession ad, we had a 40-foot crane on that job too. So this is small, but just what we need for this particular job. If you look at the end of it, you've got a very expensive digital camera on the end. What's really cool is the lenses on those are very specialized, very wide angle to capture the whole square, as you'll see coming up. Sometimes they're narrow and you get it from far away. But I was told last night that these lenses are up to $50,000 each, and we've got about 8 of them on the set. Can you imagine over $250,000 just worth of lenses that we rented on this project alone? You hear the motors behind me. We're going to look at some of the snow being put down next. So as you can see here, I'm doing a special technique. I'm actually making fake snow using shaving cream to coat the plants. We've coated this pillar here, and then we've got something called a snow blanket. You can see it down here, where it's a special batting that we put around the edges and corners or put in the background, and the special effects team uses that to make it look like real snow. Stay tuned and we'll show you some more fun facts and techniques on the set.
If there was a little shaking, we can fix that.
Well,
but as far as...
Let's try it again.
Okay, let's try that again. We're going from 1B to 2.
Smoother and without a dip if you can. So, let's go for a second, okay? Here we are on day 3 of the filming of the Santa's Priority evangelismal. When we left last night, we had finished the big opening scene with the gazebo and the crane pulling out to reveal the town square where people were waiting for Santa to come to town. We also filmed the scene where Santa was passing by the Victorian house with the boy handing him a cookie. When we broke set last night around 1 in the morning, the whole crew prayed that the storms that they were predicting for Savannah would avoid us. And sure enough, our prayers were answered. The ice and snow that they had predicted for this area went a little further north, and we were able to actually film today. Today we're going to film the scene where Santa's first arriving to town, and we see him for the first time in the horse-drawn carriage behind me. We've got Prince, this beautiful white horse, and the driver Michael bringing Santa into town for the first time past the fountain in Forsyth Park. After that, we're going to head over to E. Shaver Bookstore, where we're going to see Santa making his journey on his appointed rounds past the Victorian carolers on his way to the cathedral to give homage to baby Jesus in the creche. So stay tuned and we'll have more fun facts for you coming up next. We're in Video Village right now, and we're taking a look at the monitor. On the monitor, Jason has the ability to play for us all of the scenes we've filmed so far. What you're going to see are not only those scenes cut into the animatic, as we call it, but you're going to see some placeholders that we filmed earlier in the week to kind of put a puzzle together. Some of the scenes are new that we just filmed. Some of the scenes are the old ones, but it gives us the guideline so that we know that the length of the scene is right and that the continuity is right. So when the little boy hands Santa the cookie and he takes it, his eye line is right, the way his head is tilted, and all the scenes fit together. So let's take a look at it, Jason. There's the opening scene with the gazebo in the park. We're going to film the next scene coming up with Santa crossing by the fountain. You can see that's what it looks like when it's not dressed. Here comes Santa by the theater. He's starting his walk through town. We have yet to film the bookstore scene, which is going to come up tonight with the carolers. Talked about that earlier. Here he is on the porch, what we filmed last night on day 2, taking the cookie from the little boy. Passing by the coffee shop. He finally sees the cathedral. The rest of what you're going to see are just placeholders now, where Santa's parting the crowd, and he's going to see baby Jesus in the nativity. There's a close-up of baby Jesus. And now we're going to pull out to reveal the grand finale at the end. That's all going to take place tomorrow on day 4. So stay tuned, and we'll show you the animatic as it comes to life on day 3 and day 4 coming up next. So here we are outside the historic bookstore. This is the scene where Santa walks by the old Charles Dickens carolers, and we've got the bookstore all dressed in winter attire. We're getting the finishing touches with snow and garland put on now, and we're going to put the carolers in place in about another half hour. Santa's getting his final makeup touches done, and we're going to strategically place the Catholics Come Home book in the lower left corner of the shot. So look for it in the shot, this prop, and look for what's going to happen during this scene where Santa's passing by the carolers. We're in the E. Shaver Historic Bookstore in downtown Savannah. I came in here to show you a really cool special effect that's going to happen. This window behind me doesn't look like much, but it's going to be the frame of one of the scenes where Santa's walking by the bookstore. As you can see there, Santa's not out there. There's a U-Haul truck out there. But what we're going to do is green screen the window and use this as a frame. And then we're going to shoot Santa tomorrow night walking past the park, and we're going to take that footage and put it into that green screen frame as a special effect. So look for the finished evangelismal of Santa's Priority where he's walking by the bookstore window, and you'll see him out that window, but it's actually shot in 2 different places and put together. So stay tuned for that special effect. I'm Tom Peterson, as you know, and you certainly know who that is. That's Santa. But his real name is Gary. And Gary, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for helping us with the Santa commercial.
Thank you.
Santa's Priority for Catholics Come Home. I think now would be a good time to let our audience know how your experience has been so far.
Tom, this has just been wonderful for me. Not only have I enjoyed it on the aspect of doing something that I've never done before, but I feel that I've really been blessed. I've been blessed with the ability to do something, to be part of a very clear and simple message that I think really needs to be put out there. I think we've all found that we've learned that we've been asked to be fishers of men. And many Catholics like myself have not quite been able to figure out how to do that. Yes. You know, it's really difficult. You know, we're not sitting in a pulpit every day. We're not... And this has allowed me, in a small part, to really accomplish that and feel like I'm really putting a message out there without being a great deal a part of it, but being part of the whole.
Well, you've made a significant contribution to us. I want to thank Catholic Charities of San Antonio, who has loaned Santa to us. I had given a legatus speech in San Antonio and told the group that I needed a Santa, and one of your bosses says, Santa works for me. And sure enough, he did. And I interviewed Gary over Skype, and he looked perfect. And he's even got the jolly laugh. He's got it all going on, and you've been a joy to work with. So we're about ready to do the grand finale. And Gary was referring to it, where Santa gives homage to baby Jesus. And not only is the Keep Christ in Christmas theme important, but I think we've got to really fight that secularism that's going on in the world and help promote the new evangelization, as Gary had alluded to spread the faith. What has been probably the highlight of this week for you?
I think the true highlight has been the people. The crews, the cast that's been coming out, the extras, everyone has just given tremendous amounts of love, friendship. It's just been great.
Yeah, they're dedicated, and you've certainly been dedicated. We've asked you to do a lot of things beyond your comfort zone, things you hadn't done before, and you've hit it out of the park. And I think the Holy Spirit's been with us. We've prayed a lot and asked God to provide the right actors and the right scenes. We dodged the big bullet on weather this week, as we've talked about during this video.
Wonderful.
Where they predicted major ice storms. We weren't sure we'd even be able to do this. We thought we would have to cancel one of the nights, and you can't really, ask for people to stay an extra day. You just have to do it. So we kind of prayed the weather away, and it's been kind of miraculous. What has been the most challenging part of this week for you?
I think, as you mentioned, the challenging part for me is doing things and stepping into shoes that I've never stepped into before.
Or boots.
Boots, okay. Boots.
In fact, he hadn't stepped into these boots before, and he needed extra socks in order to fit. So that literally, right? Well, we're about to shoot the grand finale, and we'll probably finish up at 2 or 3 in the morning again. We've been going all day, but it'll be an incredible scene where the camera pulls out on a 24-foot jib to reveal the creche, Santa kneeling there in front of baby Jesus, and the whole nativity scene in the square, complete with snow in the background. And a little factoid, baby Jesus is actually my grandson when he was 8 days old, and we are going to photographically drop him into the manger. So no baby was out in the cold. I want to let you know that. And because it was impossible to shoot a newborn baby in this cold weather, because it's right around freezing when we're filming here, we're going to drop him in electronically. So kind of a fun little factoid. So in many cases, Gary had to imagine baby Jesus being in the scene and still have that loving look on his face. So you did a great job, and I'm proud of you. I thank you. And I want to go on record. Santa's Catholic, and he believes in the new evangelization.
It wasn't shot.
Okay, we're 10 minutes away from filming the scene over Santa's shoulder toward the cathedral with the crowd. We've got the final placements of the wise men, the shepherd, Mary and Joseph. They'll take off their regular coats pretty soon. And then baby Jesus in the manger. We've got some animals here that are in place. Final tweaks on the lighting, a little bit more snow in the background, and we'll be ready to go. 10-minute warning.
Santa, step out, please.
All right, it's exactly 4:15 a.m. We're ending on the set of Santa's Priority. It's been a great week here in Savannah. We got a great shoot. We just did the grand finale of Santa kneeling before baby Jesus and the jib pulling out, showing the beautiful aerial shot, and everyone's tired. So the crew's wrapping. Look for Santa's Priority on TV near you next Christmas.
Shine through darkness, Advent joy lights the night air. For kindly Saint Nicholas was making his way there. But wait for a moment, there's a pause in his plan. We're reminded Santa's priority should be that of every woman and man. For peace to flourish and love to abound, our souls must come home. The King of Kings must be found. For centuries, wise men sought the Savior first, knowing only Jesus can quench our heart's greatest thirst. So come home to Mass and celebrate the holy Christian season, for love is born tonight, our hope for heaven, the reason.
Thank you for joining us for this very special presentation of a behind-the-scenes look at the filming of Santa's Priority, a Keep Christ in Christmas special presentation from Catholics Come Home. Help us to air this important message of the new evangelization about the birth of Jesus, the Savior of the world, more often and more places, starting this Christmas. Come to CatholicsComeHome.org today to help us sponsor the airing of a commercial. You know, since the year 2000, secular forces, be it atheists, lawyers, some governmental institutions, school systems, even some corporations, have tried desperately to strip Christ out of Christmas. You know, it seems like they've censored Jesus from his own birthday celebration. A war on Christmas is a war against Christ and Christianity as well. You know, Merry Christmas has been replaced with phrases like season's greetings, happy holidays, or the new one, happy winter wishes. It seems like nativity scenes and creches, Christmas carols have been removed from the public square in many school districts, but the celebrations of other faith communities are still left intact. But you and I can make a difference of bringing that Christian message of Jesus, the Savior of the world, back into the public square, back into the conversation and on secular TV. So come to CatholicsComeHome.org today and help us with the airing of this important message. We thank you for joining us for our Christmas special. We want to wish Jesus a very happy birthday. And from all of us at Catholics Come Home, we want to wish you and your family a very blessed and Merry Christmas.
I'm Tracy Sabol. Tonight on EWTN News Nightly, the death toll is climbing after the attack on a Christmas market in Germany. We have the latest. Plus, President Biden commutes the sentences of 37 people currently on death row. We have a report and reaction. Join us for news from a Catholic perspective.
Some special items on EWTNRC.com this month are these 3-day devotional candles, perfect for the season. Each design is exclusive to EWTN and includes a beautiful corresponding prayer. Bring the light of the world into your home or share them as gifts. The more you buy, the more you save. To order, go to EWTNRC.com and search for 3-day votive candle to see the collection.
Free and on demand this month. Sacred Stories. The mystical and the miraculous come to life in this collection of inspiring stories about real saints and their witness to truth. Watch it now at EWTN.com/on-demand.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
I'm Tracy Sabol. Tonight on EWTN News Nightly, death row decision. President Joe Biden commutes the sentences of more than 36 inmates. How Catholic leaders are responding. Makeshift memorial, remembering the victims of the attack on a Christmas market as the death toll climbs. Swiss Miss, a possible new role for a former U.S. ambassador to the Holy See. Plus, a real turnoff. A church leader in Ohio is asking the faithful to put aside 15 minutes every day to possibly save our souls. These stories and more tonight.
From EWTN, the Global Catholic Network, this is EWTN News Nightly.
Thank you for being with us. Our top story tonight, President Joe Biden, who leaves office next month, commuted sentences today of 37 out of 40 inmates on federal death row. Those convicted killers, the president says, will instead sit behind bars without the possibility of parole. He released a statement this morning explaining his decision, which comes just weeks before President-elect Donald Trump, an outspoken proponent of expanding capital punishment, moves back into the Oval Office. White House correspondent Owen Jensen reports. Owen.
Tracy, in his statement, President Joe Biden said, quote, "In good conscience, I cannot stand back and let a new administration resume executions that I halted," end quote. But this afternoon, Donald Trump ripped Biden, calling it an abhorrent decision, adding it's a slap in the face to the victims, their families, and their loved ones.
In making his announcement, President Joe Biden writes in part, "These commutations are consistent with the moratorium my administration has imposed on federal executions in cases other than terrorism and hate-motivated mass murder. Make no mistake, I condemn these murderers, but guided by my conscience, I am more convinced than ever that we must stop the use of the death penalty at the federal level." Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton blasted Biden over the move, calling it truly appalling.
So Joe Biden was willing to commute every death sentence on federal death row except for the most politically inconvenient murderers. So what message does that send to those 37 families and their friends and their fellow police officers who were shot or killed or tortured in cold blood?
The move spares the lives of people convicted in killings, including the murders of police and military officers, people on federal land, and those involved in deadly bank robberies or drug deals, as well as the killings of guards or prisoners in federal facilities. Delaware Senator Chris Coons said he encouraged the president to seriously consider the commutations. He believes there are some real questions about the fairness and the process of the death penalty in the United States, saying just yesterday,
"These are people who should never be out of prison." But Pope Francis has called on President Biden, as have many other criminal justice reform leaders, faith leaders, to step aside from federal death penalties.
President-elect Donald Trump, who takes office on January 20th, has spoken frequently of expanding executions. During his first term as president, Trump also advocated for the death penalty for drug dealers. In Aurora, Colorado in October, he told supporters,
"And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer."
Now, Tom Cotton also said, quote, "Joe Biden is using his last days in office to spare the worst monsters in America. These killers were sentenced to death by a jury of their peers," end quote. Meanwhile, 3 federal inmates are still facing execution. Dylan Roof, who killed 9 black people at a South Carolina church, the Boston Marathon bomber Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, and Robert Bowers, who killed 11 congregants at a synagogue in Pittsburgh, the deadliest anti-Semitic attack in U.S. history. Tracy?
All right, thank you so much for that, Owen. And while many are critical of President Biden's decision to commute the sentences of nearly every convicted felon on death row, the commutations are an answered prayer for many, including Pope Francis, who prayed for the commutations of the sentences during his Angelus earlier this month.
Mi viene
today
al cuore chiedere a tutti voi di pregare
it comes to my heart to ask all of you
per I detenuti
to pray for the inmates in the United States
sono al corridoio della morte.
Who are in the death corridor.
Credo che sono 13 o 15.
Let us pray for their sentence to be commuted, changed.
All right, to talk to us more about all of this is Father Thomas Petrie, president of the Pontifical Faculty of the Immaculate Conception at the Dominican House of Studies. Father Petrie, great to be with you.
Always great to be with you, Tracy.
All right, so much to unpack here. But first, I want to get your thoughts on this. Archbishop Timothy Broglio, as you know, president of the USCCB, he released a statement today about the commutations, and he wrote in that statement, "This action by the president is a significant step in advancing the cause of human dignity in our nation. As we continue to proclaim the gospel in a broken world, the act of mercy is a step to closer building a culture of life." Your thoughts on that, and also Your thoughts on this decision by President Biden?
Well, of course, the Church's traditional doctrinal teaching is that states do have a right to recourse to the death penalty, especially for heinous crimes in which guilt is absolutely known. But the last several popes, going back at least to Pope St. Paul VI, have expressed reservations. And, of course, Pope Francis has expressed reservations of the death penalty in the strongest of terms. And what Archbishop Berlioz says is that in our broken world, having mercy towards those who are guilty of heinous things is a way of evangelizing, that if such people are merit or worthy of an act of mercy, so is everybody else. So are you, and so am I. And so it is an evangelical call. Now, not all Catholics agree with that. That this is the way we should proceed. And there are arguments that a society should have recourse to the ultimate penalty of death for crimes that are especially heinous and that treat innocent life very cavalierly.
Yeah, and we said nearly all. Not every single one of the inmates was commuted their sentence. There were 3 that were not. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so that's an interesting point, because if the death penalty is in fact immoral, as many people want to say, why is it immoral for these 3? Now, President Biden clearly staked out a claim that there is a line, and it's the line that I just spoke of, which is something that's very heinous and treats life cavalierly. Now, the Church doesn't say what that means or where the line is, and that's really up to politicians and those in government to express prudential judgment. But clearly the line for President Biden is acts of terrorism and acts of mass murder constituting hate crimes. Some would say that the line should be even further or lesser and include other heinous crimes, but that's a prudential argument, even among Catholics.
Yeah, and this decision by President Biden, while in line with Catholic social teaching, the other life issue, abortion, really quite vastly different. Can you sort of unpack this for us, for those who are questioning this?
Yeah, so, it's important that, a Catholic politician be praised when they do things that are good or the Church views as good. So, yeah, very important that Archbishop Berlioz and the U.S. bishops released this statement praising these commutations, even if one might disagree prudentially with the death penalty. But that's quite different from an issue of intrinsic evil like abortion or euthanasia, which is always evil, and there's never a prudential reason to employ them, which is to say, there's never a good reason. Unlike the death penalty, which there can be legitimate and good reasons to employ it. Historically, there have been, even if today we want to follow, as I say, not just Pope Francis, but Pope Benedict, John Paul, St. Paul VI, that it shouldn't be used for evangelical reasons and for reasons of human dignity.
Yeah. Final thoughts before we close out this segment.
Well, it's, this obviously, I agree that this is a certain, it's a certain confrontation, or I don't want to use the word attack, but it is a bit of a slap in the face for victims, and I suspect the victims' families will feel very hurt by this. I think as Christians, and this is going to sound trite, and it's not really a great answer, but we need to work on forgiveness, not excusing, but in order to release ourselves of the anger and the pain that evil that has been done to us can often cause in us for years after the fact.
Right. Well, Father Peter, always great to have you on, and thank you so much for helping us unpack all this and your advice. We always appreciate it.
God bless you, Tracy. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. God bless. Well, President-elect Donald Trump seems to be eyeing an island property once again, Greenland. He made the comments hours after saying the U.S. should reclaim the Panama Canal.
The fees being charged by Panama are ridiculous, highly unfair, especially knowing the extraordinary generosity that has been bestowed to Panama, I say very foolishly, by the United States.
In response, Panama's president said the canal and the surrounding zones belong to his country, not the U.S. In turn, the Prime Minister of Greenland responded to Trump's latest calls for control in a statement, writing, quote, "We are not for sale and we will not be for sale." Trump expressed his interest in buying Greenland from Denmark during his first term, and now he is saying that it is a matter of national security that the U.S. controls Greenland. Well, President-elect Donald Trump has announced that he is nominating Callista Gingrich as U.S. ambassador to Switzerland. During the first Trump presidency, she served as the U.S. ambassador to the Holy See. Trump praised Gingrich's work at the Vatican, saying that she worked to defend international religious freedom, combat human trafficking, and provide humanitarian service around the world. The man accused of killing the United Healthcare CEO pleaded not guilty to murder and terror charges. Luigi Mangione appeared in court in Manhattan for a state case that will run parallel to his federal prosecution. Mangione's attorney is concerned about the possibility of a fair trial, especially following remarks on the case by New York's mayor. The judge says the trial will be fair. All right, turning now to Germany, the country is still in shock after the deadly attack at a Christmas market in Magdeburg. A 9-year-old child is among at least 5 people who were killed. At least 200 other people were injured. A makeshift memorial for the victims is growing as mourners are adding tributes and flowers. Prosecutors say the suspect is a 50-year-old doctor from Saudi Arabia. He has lived and practiced medicine in Germany since 2006, and he is now in custody. In response to the attack, there is higher security in Rome to ensure safety during the Jubilee year. More than 700 police have been deployed in addition to the normal amount. They are keeping watch over the Vatican, the historic center, train stations, and other high-profile locations. A long-awaited House Ethics Committee report on former Congressman Matt Gaetz is out. The committee found that the Florida Republican regularly paid women tens of thousands of dollars for sex or drugs, including payment to an underage girl while in office. The House Ethics Committee concluded its 42-page report by writing, "The committee determined there is substantial evidence that Representative Gaetz violated House rules and other standards of conduct prohibiting prostitution, statutory rape, illicit drug use, impermissible gifts, special favors or privileges, and obstruction of Congress." According to the report, Gaetz used payment apps, including Venmo and PayPal, to transfer money directly to more than a dozen women during his time in Congress and possessed drugs such as cocaine and ecstasy on multiple occasions. It also says Gaetz used a fake email account from his Capitol Hill office to order marijuana. Gaetz denies all the charges. Back in November, President-elect Donald Trump tapped Gaetz for Attorney General. Gaetz resigned from Congress and later withdrew his nomination, citing the ethics investigation. Some lawmakers say it's important for the report to come out.
This is not a happy day. There's nothing that's positive in this. I'm happy only in the sense that the House has to hold itself to a higher ethical standard if we're to be, have the trust of the American people.
Others called on the Ethics Committee to release all previously unpublished reports.
Release all of them. I think if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. Why are they hiding all the others? Why are they protecting powerful members, former powerful, that are still powerful on this Capitol Hill?
Last year, the Justice Department decided to drop charges in sex trafficking allegations against him. Gaetz called the DOJ's probe a political witch hunt.
Maybe special counsel to go after the insider trading for my former colleagues in Congress. It seems I may not have had enough support in the United States Senate. Maybe I'll just run for Marco Rubio's vacant seat in the United States Senate and join some of those folks.
Gaetz had filed a civil claim in federal court to halt the release of the report. Among other things, Gaetz argued media coverage would be immediate and widespread. The committee's release of the report reversed an earlier decision not to make public the results of its investigation. And we have a lot more still to come here on EWTN News Nightly, including a lot of cars are trying to merge, a major announcement from 2 automakers, and at the Vatican, a grand opening of a different sort, the big event that's happening soon.
Don't miss a moment of 2025. Get a full year of EWTN's National Catholic Register at a limited time savings of over $17. Stay informed and engaged with the latest updates from the Vatican, Washington, D.C., and around the world. From the Jubilee year and canonizations to the new administration and beyond, the National Catholic Register delivers unparalleled news and analysis through a distinctly Catholic lens. Experience award-winning journalism that dives deeper than secular news outlets, uncovering the truth and revealing the real story behind the year's most important events. Only the Register delivers coverage you can trust, insightful, faithful, and unmatched. Subscribe to the Register today and get it delivered to your home, office, or parish. To subscribe with a special savings of over $17, order online at ncregister.com/TV or call 800-421-3230 and mention code TV. That's ncregister.com/TV or call 800-421-3230 and mention code TV. Don't miss a moment of 2025. Call or click today. The National Catholic Register. Read faithfully.
And while Mary and Joseph were in Bethlehem, the time came for Mary to be delivered, and she gave birth to her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. From the Church of St. Catherine in the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, Solemn Mass of Christmas and Office of Readings from the Holy Land, Wednesday at 1 a.m. Eastern on EWTN.
Titans in the auto industry are planning to join forces. Japanese automakers Honda and Nissan have announced that they are working toward a merger. The move would create the world's third largest automaker by sales. The two companies say that they have signed a memo of understanding. They also say that Mitsubishi Motors, a smaller Nissan Alliance member, has agreed to join the talks on integrating their businesses. Automakers in Japan have lagged behind their bigger rivals in electric vehicles. Tomorrow night at the Vatican is more than the traditional Christmas Eve Mass with the Holy Father. It will also feature an opening act. EWTN Vatican journalist Magdalena Walensky-Reedy tells us more about the Holy Door.
This
moment will remind us strongly of Pope Francis's words. This will be a year of grace and forgiveness, recalling the words of the prophet Isaiah.
That moment will make Christmas Eve in St. Peter's Basilica even more special. Pope Francis will open the Holy Door at the Vatican, inaugurating the Jubilee of Hope. It only occurs every 25 years to mark the start of an ordinary Holy Year. The last time it happened was in 2000 with Pope St. John Paul II.
There is a special and spiritual dimension at St. Peter's because we can live here the passage of the Holy Door in the house of the Pope, in the house of the Apostle Peter.
Following a centuries-old tradition, the four Holy Doors of Rome's major basilicas are opened each Jubilee. Since 1500, according to the custom established by Pope Alexander VI, the Holy Door of St. Peter's Basilica has been the first to open, with the other basilicas following in succession.
St. Peter's is the heart of Christianity. There is the tomb of the Prince of the Apostles, a man who somewhat mirrors our lives, reflects our frailties, even our betrayals, but also our desire to get back up and start again, and follow the Lord Jesus with more and more enthusiasm.
For this reason, St. Peter's door has a particular and profound meaning, even though 500 years ago it was just a tiny side door on the far right of the St. Peter's Basilica.
You have to remember that it was not the present basilica, but the ancient one, and the portico. That sixth door, a little door used to be called the Porta Parvula, or the Golden Door, and the little door was used only for the Holy Year.
Our EWTN team explored the hidden archives of St. Peter's Basilica, nestled beneath its roof, and admired the only surviving images from the ancient era.
Here's the first map depicting the Vatican area, featuring the ancient Circus of Nero.
L'antico circolo di Nerone, mentre andando ancora in avanti troviamo.
You can also see the layout of the old basilica alongside the outlines of the new basilica that began to take shape in the early 1500s.
Is this the ancient holy door here? Are these porticos?
Here, exactly. We are practically here.
Until the 20th century, the Holy Door in the present basilica was merely a passageway within the walls of St. Peter's. The current bronze door, featuring 2 leaves, was added in the holy year of 1950 under Pope Pius XII, and it is perfectly aligned with the 1700-year-old Constantinian basilica, preserving its historic placement. The Holy Door, a powerful sign of mercy and hope, stands ready to open, inviting everyone to become pilgrims of hope and embrace God's love and peace. It will remain open until the 6th of January 2026, and then it will be sealed until the next Jubilee. In Rome, Magdalena Wolinska-Riedi, EWTN News Nightly.
Up next on EWTN News Nightly, pastoral letter why one church leader in Ohio is urging the faithful to put down their phones for just 15 minutes a day. Plus, Catholic actor opens up about his powerful decision to speak at the March for Life. What made him take a stand?
Hello, family. When Mother Angelica founded EWTN, she simply wanted the world to know and love the eternal Word, Jesus Christ. Every day at EWTN, we continue her mission by broadcasting the daily Mass, the Holy Rosary, live shows, and news from a Catholic perspective. But we can only do this with you at our side. As we're at the end of the year, we need you to remember in December and make a gift to EWTN before the 31st. With your support, we'll create new programs and continue broadcasting your favorite shows. We'll reach more people who need to hear the gospel, and we'll continue bringing you news that's always from the lens of the faith. So please, don't forget, we need your donation by the end of the year so that we can tell more people about Jesus in 2025. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Make sure to remember EWTN in December and make a gift by December 31st. Your gift today keeps EWTN on the air and shares the joy of the gospel with the world. Please make a donation by going to EWTN.com/donate today. You may also call us at 1-800-447-EWTN or send your donation to EWTN, 5817 Old Leeds Road, Irondale, Alabama, 35210.
We have something special for your family this Christmas season, the EWTN 2024 Olive Wood Nativity Christmas Ornament. Crafted by Christians in Bethlehem, this exclusive keepsake is engraved with 2024 on one side and EWTN on the other. What a wonderful addition to your home as you prepare to celebrate the birth of Christ. To order, go to EWTNRC.com and search for item number 2024W.
Pope Francis says that a child is never a mistake.
Benediciamo le mamme e diamo lode a Dio per il miracolo della vita.
The Holy Father delivered his Sunday address via live stream because he had a cold, but he still went through the traditional blessing of baby Jesus figures that will appear in nativity scenes all around the world. Want a new interview? Catholic actor Jonathan Roumie talks about his decision to speak at the March for Life 2 years ago. I believe in the sanctity of life from the moment of conception. For me, it's a spiritual thing that has been usurped and turned into a political weapon that divides people in such a way where they no longer see the spirituality of the issue. Roumie, of course, is best known for his portrayal of Jesus on the TV series The Chosen. This year's March for Life will be held on January 24th, and EWTN will have complete coverage of this year's event. Well, finally, tonight, a church leader in Ohio is asking the faithful in his diocese to spend 15 minutes each day in prayer and reflection. In an open letter to the faithful of Cleveland, Bishop Edward Malesic says that it will be a great benefit to put down our phones and take a rest in the Lord. The secular workday, school schedules, and the challenges of raising a family can be all-encompassing, leaving us feeling pressed for time. As your bishop, I am convinced that none of those things will matter or be effective if we are not serious about deepening our friendship with God. And joining us now is Bishop Edward Malesic from the Diocese of Cleveland. Your Excellency, wonderful to be with you today. We really appreciate it. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
So first up, tell us why you decided to write this letter and about the timing of it. Why now?
You know, I've been here for 4 years. People, ever since I came, they always, and this is typical, people say, well, what's your vision for the diocese? And I always said, well, the vision is for the diocese is the vision that Jesus has for our diocese, and we have to figure out how to bring that vision about into reality. So after 4 years and going to different parishes, I decided to write a letter from my heart to the people that I've come to love and the people that I serve. And it's simply a letter that encourages them to draw closer to Jesus and their relationship with Jesus. I think that's just so important to do, that, you know, we're not going to have a flourishing church if the people are not centered and rooted in Christ. So it's I think, a very basic letter trying to encourage people to give some time to prayer, to gather together in small groups, to share faith, because when we're together, our faith is increased, to reflect on their own story and then tell the story. Why am I Catholic? Why do I love the Lord? Being able to express that to others, whether that's co-workers or family members, and then to form parishes that I always talk to 3 major reasons for a parish is worship, evangelization, and service.
Yeah, so important. I know you mentioned putting down our phones for 15 minutes every day as a way to pray.
Unless you're using an app. There's a lot of good apps out there, so that's okay, but not to be distracted. You know, it is crazy. We're so distracted these days.
Yeah. Talk to us more about that. I mean, just being silent. And do you have any other more practical advice for the faithful, too, to spend more time with our Lord each day?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I mean, I often tell people, even in the car, turn off the radio in the morning if you're going to work. You don't need to hear all that. Just kind of be in silence. Let the Lord speak to you. Let the Lord love you. Certainly, there's a lot of different ways to pray with scriptures, whether that's reading through one of the Gospels or one of the letters of St. Paul. There are many things that do, you know, involve looking at screens. We have apps that are very popular these days, but don't just read the app. You know, after you read that reflection, then put it down and just be in silence and let the Lord talk to you. How has the Lord been speaking to you through these reflections? Here in the Diocese of Cleveland, we have a wonderful thing called My Daily Prayers, and I know a lot of people are listening to those. And it's a simple reflection followed by very traditional prayers. It takes about 8 to 10 minutes, but then after those 8 to 10 minutes, you know, to just kind of sit in silence, and whether that's with a cup of coffee or tea or just looking out the window, and then letting the Lord love you. Letting the Lord, you know, we are children of God, and the Lord wants to love us.
Yeah, I love that so much. And sometimes people say, well, I can't find time in the day. Well, you can find 15 minutes.
Well, I preached a homily once when I was a pastor of a small parish, Holy Infant Parish, now outside of Steinstown. But I preached a sermon once, and people said at home, I said, if you are too busy to pray, you are too busy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious, Your Excellency, what's been the response to this?
I was at Mass yesterday. I had Mass yesterday here at the cathedral. A young man came up and said, I read your letter. Will you sign it for me? I want your autograph. So I said, sure. No problem doing that. So it's been a very, very positive response. I think the clergy of the diocese have remarked that it's good, and it's a simple letter. There's nothing, I don't know if there's anything profound about it. Just pray, you know, and pray, gather together, reflect on why you're Christian, why you're Catholic, why you love the Lord, share it, and then go out on mission.
I love it. So simple, but so important and meaningful. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for coming on, sharing this with us. We really appreciate it. God bless you, and Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Have a great holiday season with Christ at the center of it, and we'll have a great Christmas celebration. Blessed New Year to you too as well.
And Merry Christmas to you all. Thank you for watching tonight. Remember, you can follow us on social media, Facebook, X, and Instagram at EWTN News Nightly. I'm Tracy Sabol. Good night, and God bless.
The EWTN home video highlight for December is the EWTN Family Christmas Special. The choir of the Eternal Word Television Network performs classical Christmas carols with a special commentary by Father Joseph Mary Wolfe. Order your DVD or CD at EWTNRC.com, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or call 1-800-854-6316.
Tuesday on EWTN Pro-Life Weekly, a little extra love during the Christmas season for mothers in need. We bring you the work of a pro-life pregnancy center in Washington, D.C., plus the life-saving technology that is helping a baby girl born at just 23 weeks fight for her life. Tuesday at 1:30.
The scriptures tell us, with God, all things are possible. Also, our faith can move mountains. Faith is a wellspring of wisdom that flows within our spirit. In this portrait of God's beauty, our faith must be taller than the tallest tree. It should reach above and beyond the highest snow peaks. Our faith is God's best gift to us. It is salvation.